Welcome back to it. It's the Now Morning Show, of course, our Friday edition, and we are in the jazz season. So we're going to be talking about an upcoming jazz concert that's taking place on April 30th. Of course, that's the second Raintree International Jazz Concert. And so joining me this morning to talk more about it is Sean Samad, event co-producer, and someone who's no stranger to us. So any of you, if you love jazz, and here on the Now Morning Show, and that's artist Ruth Osmond. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
Good, thanks.
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
I'll start with you first, Sean. So it's the second Raintree International Jazz Day concert.
Correct.
What is that concert all about, particularly?
Right. So in 2011, UNESCO declared April 30th International Jazz Day, right? So starting 2012. And what International Jazz Day is really the culmination of Jazz Appreciation Month, right, which is the month of April.
Yes.
And the day really is about kind of highlighting the importance of jazz as a diplomatic tool for international understanding, and just the impact and future of the music. Because it's one of the few genres of music that really exists everywhere in the world in different forms and really brings people together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now the event is taking place on April 30th. Tell us exactly where it's taking place and who can we see. I know Ruth isn't here by coincidence,
Yes.
but I'm going to bring you in just for Ruth. But tell us where it's going to be taking place and who are some of the artists and acts we can see.
Right, so it's called Raintree International Jazz Day Concert because it takes place at Raintree Plant and Wellness Center, which is a great outdoor space in Mccoy, actually in the Mccoy Industrial Estate. And everybody who goes there says, how is this here? Like, it's 2 minutes from the highway, 2 minutes from the main road, 2 minutes from the bus road, in an industrial estate, but once you enter, you are transformed into this really natural space. So that's why it's called Raintree International Jazz Day Concert.
Nice.
And the acts, Ruth is one of our main acts.
Yes.
We have Kevin Humphrey, Carla Gonzalez, Kyrie Kaiso, which is Marvin Newton's Kaiso, vintage Kaiso band, is also performing. And then we have Theron Shaw, Wayne Guerra, and Ajibola as the band support as well.
Yeah. Ruth, you are going to be performing along an amazing cast. I mean, how does it feel to be back, you know, after the pandemic and doing this particular event?
Exactly. Overjoyed.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be with my people again. As you would know, I performed with Terry and Ajibola and Carla and Kevin before at the first Raintree, but also in previous productions.
Yes.
I know Marva decades, right? I was actually part of Marva's Jacoustic when I came to Trinidad and started performing. So it's family. It's people who are accustomed to sharing a stage who can't wait to get together and vibes again.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm looking forward to it.
Now, as a jazz artist, how important is that genre of music to us? Because as we know, we created the soca and the calypso, but of course there's also that infusion that's taking place as well. I mean, so how important is it?
It really is important because what a lot of people don't know is that, forgive me if I'm not politically correct here, but jazz is black people thing. Right? A lot of people don't know that jazz came from the blues, which came across from Africa to the rest of the world. Europe, America, of course, New Orleans is sort of the hub and the mother, because when the enslaved or the kidnapped went there, they created jazz, but it's based on the blues scale. So when you hear calypso, when you hear soul and R&B, when you hear hip hop, you're actually talking about these things that came from and evolved out of, and in many ways also influenced and impacted jazz. So it's we thing. It's not an American thing. It's we thing.
It's we thing, And going back to that whole we thing concept as shown, how important is this particular event? And I ask that because we have so many happening across the island.
Correct.
I mean, just this weekend we have it in Tobago. We had jazz artists on the greens and so many other events. What makes this one in particular so unique?
So there are two key things. One is that in terms of events that focus on International Jazz Day, on the day itself, this is the only one I think that really exists, and the only one that's listed on UNESCO's website for Trinidad and Tobago. So that's one thing, and that was kind of the niche we wanted to kind of have the event on the official day that celebrates jazz internationally. And the second thing is it's a really intimate jazz affair, so it's not a huge event. We're catering for about 100 people, so it's a nice kind of comfortable vibe in an outdoor environment, you know, open air, so it's going to have a very different kind of feel.
Now, while you're were catering for that 100 type count for patrons. This is the second one.
Yes.
Tell us about the first one. How was it, and what are your sort of expectations going in?
Right. So the first one was a bit smaller. We had about 70 people.
Right.
Ruth and Kevin and Carla also performed, and we just had one pianist. So it was like a pilot. Let's try this out, and we got a really good response. And so this year we're taking it up a notch. We're adding extra people to the cast like Theron and Ajibola and Kerry Kaiso, and we're adding some more seats as well.
Yeah. Now, Ruth, I know you can't let everything out of the bag, but tease us a little bit in terms of what we can see on the stage for this event.
So of course you're going to be hearing jazz, like duh, right? But hopefully, from what I said previously, what you'd realize is that jazz isn't just straightforward jazz standards. A lot of what our Calypsonians did was jazz. Kitchener, like the most obvious example, right? It's improvisation, it's playing in the moment with the people on the stage who are supporting and playing with you. And when I say play, I mean play, not just as in playing instrument. I mean having fun.
Playing off of each other.
That sort of thing. It's rhythm, it's syncopation. So people aren't just going to hear what they think is jazz. They're going to hear reincarnations and hybrid things. They're going to hear some languages besides English. They're going to hear rhythms they might not have heard before, but that interestingly might feel like home to them because it really is who we are and where we come from. So it's going to be lots of fun. It's going to be lots of fun.
I think you sold it well. I mean, I'm interested.
Thank you.
To come down there on the 30th. But I'm coming back to you.
Sean, we'll link you up.
I'm coming back to you, Sean, because the interesting thing that you mentioned was that this is so unique because it's actually going to be on the day that we're recognizing jazz. Can this also be a vehicle for the young jazz artists who are coming up as well? Because you call some heavy hitters who are on the lineup. I mean, we have Ruth here. But in terms of the younger ones who may need a platform to kind of showcase their skills.
Correct.
Maybe sometime in the future, do you think it could be a vehicle for that as well?
Well, we wanted to do that this year because actually Ruth and I went to UWI's Department of Creative and Festival Arts Jazz end of semester concert last year in November, and they were really good.
Amazing.
And so we had actually approached them to be a part of it this year, but the problem is that they're preparing for their final exams, and so they gracefully declined and said, in the future they would be happy to be a part of it.
Nice. And as it relates to the organization itself, Sean, any other events we can see coming out for the rest of the year?
Well, Raintree Plant and Wellness Center is primarily a retail plant store, so people can come there and buy plant accessories and whatnot. We usually have, outside of that, tea service, afternoon tea service twice a month. The musical events we want to do some more of, but we don't have anything cut at the moment.
And just remind our viewers where we can go to get tickets, when it's taking place, and where.
Right, so it's Sunday, April 30th from 5 p.m. You can buy tickets online because we're trying to be environmentally friendly and not use too much paper. So you can go to our Facebook page or our Instagram profile, and there's a link there where you can purchase the tickets easily. You can pay for it either at the shop or pay for it online, so whichever is most convenient to you.
And Ruth, I want you to just sell this concert. I mean, you've done it before, but tell us why we need to be there in Mccoy, in that hidden gem. On April 30th.
So first off, it's a gorgeous space. And I remember it was Kevin actually, one of the cast said that space has a different energy, and it really does. And I think that space ties in really well, and that energy ties in really well with the music and the vibe that the audience will be hearing, and not just hearing, but engaging in and participating in. We're talking healing, because music is vibration, and it really is healing. We're talking coming home. We're talking hearing things that touch deep parts of ourselves that we didn't know about, or we never really realized or paid attention to. We're talking about joy. We're talking about interaction and playfulness. And nature does amazing things to us, as we know. So it's gonna be a really beautiful event. And an event sounds like, something you come to and sit down and look at. But I'm talking immersion, which is what Raintree really is. And the cast, myself included, that's the work that we do. It's actually work. It's actually doing something for community and doing something for people and engaging in an exercise that heals and it calms. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Ruth, we can have a separate conversation on that, We have to bring it back in because you mentioned joy and how music makes you feel, and just piqued my interest to so many other questions. But unfortunately, we are out of time. Let me thank you, guys, so much for coming in this morning. Of course, Ruth was no stranger to us, and Sean Samar, the event co-producer of the second Raintree International Jazz Day concert that's taking place on April 30th. Remember, please go to their website to get more information about ticket purchases. Sean, just remind them where they can go again.
So our Facebook profile, which is Raintree Plant and Wellness Center.
Yes.
Also Raintree Plant and Wellness Center on Instagram.
Nice, thank you so much. And that is how we are going to wrap. But please stay with us because we have one more great performance that's coming up. Remember, you're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a quick break and be right back.